How to build a Blackgates Sweet Pea 5-inch gauge locomotive, part 76. I decided to make the crossheads more or less as per the drawing using laser cut covers. I'm still not sure about the small 6BA bolts holding the assemblies together though. This opening clip illustrates my point. However, many Sweet Peas have been successfully built and run using these drawings, so I will not be the exception to the rule, and I'm going to follow the book. Well, more or less. If you're a beginner, or even if you're not a beginner, it's a good idea when building a Sweet Pea to buy this book. It's full of very useful information. All the dimensions are in there too, but the writing's very small. I actually bought a computer scanner, and I will scan a page, take it into the workshop, make the part, and then discard the page. That way the book stays fairly clean. I was surprised to find that these laser cut holes in the covers are not the right size. They need drilling out to be clearance size for 6BA. And I thought just for a change I would try this in my small workshop using a Proxxon motor tool in a drill stand. And it's okay, there's less chance of the part being flung around and lacerating my fingers. The only problem is it gets very hot indeed and the drill keeps stopping because it's not really powerful enough. Plus the battery is not as good as it should be and needs recharging. Nevertheless though, I will press on regardless until the battery actually dies. It's a really nice day outside today. I should be in the garden rubbing down the paintwork on my Land Rover. But instead I'm in the small kitchen workshop and the light is streaming through the window and giving the images quite an interesting appearance. Notice how close to the edge these 6BA bolts are, very close indeed, so there's no real margin of error. I have to get this right or start again. The steel around these laser cut holes is much harder than I thought it would be, and it's a good test for the small Proxxon motor tool. I'm sure it's going to do it, but I think I will have to stop and recharge the battery. Once I'd drilled through all the holes in the crosshead front plate of the first crosshead, I deburred it thoroughly using my whetstone. These are so useful to have in the workshop. I don't know how I lived without one for so long. I used to have one, but it fell on the floor and broke and I threw it away. They're very easy to use, and in a strange sort of a way, they are very relaxing to work with. All the burrs quickly disappeared, and I even cleaned up the front face as well. This crosshead front plate only just fits the metal block that I made. Why is that? Well, the metal block was made to the same dimension as the original crosshead, which actually was a tiny bit small, but it will be okay when it's all done. All of the 6BA bolts are a great fit in these holes now, not too tight and not too slack, just how we like it. What I'm going to do is Loctite the cover onto the block, and this will remain in this condition until I've completed all the drilling and tapping operations. I applied Loctite to both the plate and the block and held them together using a plastic spring clamp. I want to show the removal of the Loctited part by using a blowtorch, but before I do that, I'm just running a needle file through the inside edge of these holes in an attempt to move them slightly more inboard. They really are very close to the edge. I'm not filing them oval, I'm just opening them up slightly, so when I drill and tap the holes, they'll be slightly inboard, which is a good thing. Now for a drilling festival, and I would like to apologise for the makeup, except it's not really makeup. My Land Rover has a glass fibre bonnet, and the gel coat is a bit rough, so I've been attempting to smooth out the gel coat by using a high build primer. And I've also been attempting to smooth out my fingers with the high build primer too. This primer is really good stuff and it sticks to fingernails just as well as it does to a Land Rover glass fibre bonnet. Quite frankly, this drilling was difficult. The drilling machine is not really up to the job and I'm pushing it beyond the bounds of usefulness. Plus, the battery is not fully charged. And also the part got incredibly hot incredibly quickly, hence the cloth. The good thing about doing it this way is the hole will be right in the centre. The drill will follow the existing laser cut hole. If I put it in the drilling machine in the main workshop, I would use the machine vise, which could alter the bias and the hole could be misaligned. But doing it this way, the holes just drill through as they are. I really would not want to hold a part like this in a proper drilling machine with a lot of power, because it would just grab, spin it round and injure me. When I think about it, I don't know why I'm actually using this rechargeable Proxxon mini drill, because I have a Proxxon miniature drill which is a little bit bigger, and that's mains powered. I should have thought about this first. But I'm quite happy with the job so far. When the drill gets overloaded, it stops. This next clip is just one of the tutorial parts of the video. I want to show you how easy it is to release the Loctite once it's stuck everything in place. You just heat it with a blowtorch. This is a very small blowtorch. Really, with a bigger blowtorch, you heat it very quickly and it drops off. But I didn't want to patinate the front part of the crosshead, so I used the small one. And finally, to remove it, I used the edge of a Stanley knife blade. Just a few gentle taps in the right place and the front cover fell off. When you stick parts together with Loctite 603, make sure you get a full coating, because the areas of the parts of the block that have been drilled will get very hot, which could adversely affect the bond strength. Once separated, just like I did with the other cover plate, I filed the holes slightly inboard using a small round needle file. Once I'd done that, I deburred it again and fitted it back onto its own block. This is now the other block, and I'm drilling through the holes into the block, but not very far. These are to be pilot holes for the tapping size drill for 6BA, which is obviously smaller than this drill. Don't make the mistake of drilling clearance holes for 6BA all the way through. Once I'd made all the very shallow drillings in the part, I took it over to my belt sander to remove the corner. It's better to do this now rather than wait until all the holes are drilled and tapped, because if you make a mess of this, it's really going to spoil things. I'm being very careful just to grind the block and not the cover. And here's the story so far, all ready to go into the main workshop for processing. Some people like telling me that I've done something wrong, so just to preempt this, and it's just for a change because it really doesn't bother me. The slot in the crosshead block is bigger than it needs to be to allow for slippers, and that's why in this image it looks like the crosshead guides are a little bit wonky. Stay safe, stay healthy, thanks for watching, and I hope you found it useful. Please take the time to visit my Mainsteam Models website and click on the section of the website that says Video Playlists. And by doing that, you can find other videos that you may like to watch. And by using the playlists, you can actually watch the videos back to back.